All right. Happy New Year to everybody. Just wanting to get in a little bit of some last minute flying on the last day of the year, 2022. This has been a great year for flight simulation, with Microsoft Flight Simulator continuing its evolution and release of X-Plane 12. There's been all kind of airplane development for simulators. Third-party companies are really coming through. There's just a lot going on, and it's been a really good year. And I expect 2023 will be even better. And so what I'm wanting to do is, as I've been kind of retooling my flight sim here, I want to just kind of get some more time in it, try to figure out what I want to modify and what I'm going to keep the same and all that good stuff. So what I'm doing tonight, or this afternoon, depending on where you are in the States, it's this afternoon. If you're across the pond, it's a little bit later. Yes, this is live. Absolutely. Hey, John. And so it's a little bit later there. So hopefully I won't crash this plane like I did the last time. And I've got some things dialed in. I just kind of, again, want to show the new setup. And I'm going to do a video to go through some things. But the exciting part to me are these two new monitors, which I got on eBay. And again, I moved all the stuff that was on top of the desk to under the desk to give me some desk space. I don't know why that's important, but it's what it is. So in any case, I will get this going and let's see how we do. We'll switch this over to here, and I'm gonna turn this up just a little bit. See how we do. So brakes off. I'm going to do a lot of autopilot stuff tonight. I've been messing with autopilot a lot more. This flight, I don't know how long it's going to take. I think it's a couple of 190 nautical miles, so less than an hour. So let's see how we do. Okay. So I'm still getting used to this aircraft. It's got some things that I really like, and then there's some things that I'm just still getting used to. It's very, very sensitive. I don't know my V speeds. Wasn't too bad. Get the landing gear up. And this is, I've said this in other videos, this is weird flying for me because what you guys are seeing is not what I normally fly with. Meaning, I don't normally have so much of the panel on my main screen. So I'm used to seeing more outside. But I know that would be boring to just not be able to see the panel, because I have all the panel replicated down here, so I don't typically need to put it up on the main screen, but I will do it for this purpose. And I'm going to try to get on track here. Let's see. Dial a couple of things in here. So one thing that you can kind of do, and I guess I can do this once I get it. I'm going to keep this altitude kind of low, so we'll do about 4,000 feet. And I've just clicked on autopilot. Let's see how this goes. And it's looking like it's dialing in pretty quick. Now here's where I messed up last time. I kept it at full throttle for way too long. me back this down so we don't get any crashes here. That was embarrassing when I did that before. Anyway, I really like this plane. It has all the cool smallness that the Cessna has, which is what I really like. But it is faster. It's a lot faster. Like right now I'm cruising at 240 knots, which is a good 100 knots or more faster than what the 172 does. So doing stuff like this would take a really, really long time. And so this makes that part a little bit more fun. And I expect that this plane will be a bit of my go-to for some of my 2023 stuff. My big goal for 2023 is I really want to work on my instrument approaches and things like that. I want to try to do more VATSIM stuff. I do pilot edge stuff. I love it. It's great for general aviation, but you're just limited to the West Coast. And that part I don't like. But it's a wonderful service, and I cannot recommend it enough, especially if you're doing actual pilot training in smaller aircraft. It's perfect. It really is perfect. And it makes your home simulator really, really pop out and makes it a wonderful tool. So let's see what we're saying here. 178 nautical miles, about 40 minutes. I have not looked at any of my approaches for London. London Heathrow, which looking, I'm not doing any weird weather tonight, so it'll be a pretty standard approach. I may try to, let's see, no, I'll just come in and do my own turning. Okay, so everything's looking good and dialed in. So I hope everybody's going to do something cool tonight for New Year's Eve. I see some people getting in last minute flights, making some cool last minute content, and hopefully you guys get out there and spend some great time with your family and your friends, and if not, hanging out, doing the simulator and all that good stuff, watching a good movie or something. Here we are actually not going to be doing a whole lot. Did get some good news. My kid passed his flight physical. He is thinking about becoming a commercial pilot, which is kind of cool. He has watched my simulator in the basement grow back from when we used to call the basement the plane. So this will be pretty cool. I have not done this flight ever, and I've certainly not done it at night in this plane. I could make it daylight, and I may when we get to the actual channel crossing, just to make it a little more visually interesting. Otherwise, it's just going to be completely black, and that may not be. They're on strike. What's going on? I have not heard this. It's pretty miserable here with the Southwest Airlines meltdown. Oh my gosh, it is rough. And the pilots are up in arms, and my goodness, some guy missed his heart transplant because of this. Just unbelievable. I'm not in my whole life, I can count on one hand the number of times I've flown near a major or on a major holiday. It's just something I never do. I typically stay put, I've done a few drives, but I'm not a big holiday traveler. I don't remember when. Although I did come home for when I lived in Germany, I did do a flight, and that flight got canceled and was late, and I spent the night in the Frankfurt airport. They didn't give us any place to stay, and it was just suck it up, buttercup, which is what I did, and I was late, and that was my one time, so it is what it is, right? Really digging the layout and the screen. The biggest benefit of the screens, the new screens, are I should have pulled out an old screen. Literally, where this G3000 bezel is, this whole thing, I don't even think that much, was the size of my previous monitors. And they were great. And I'm not knocking them. I got a lot of mileage out of those. And I really thought they were pretty cool. But by keeping things the same size that I'm used to, I can get more stuff on the screens, which makes it really nice. And so I'm going to make it a little bit daylight here, since it is. Make it a little more interesting. Plus, it's just fun to do this. Let's see. Make it. Do these broad daylight. Yeah, we'll just do middle of the day. It's no longer night flight, except for maybe when we get across, which we're getting close. To the channel, so that'll be cool. Autopilot stuff's working out great. Overall, this setup has been really smooth. I got to give it to Microsoft. I've been flying Microsoft flight simulators in earnest since probably, I would say really in earnest since 10. A little bit before that, but FSX was where I really started getting into this. And when they shut down, it was a big deal, and I was definitely disappointed and got away from it. And then the announcement of them coming back, and for many it was kind of a rough start. I can't say I ever really had any problems. La Manche. I'm in the middle of, with my kid, we're watching the Sylvester Stallone movie Victory with, and the reason we're watching is because of the passing of Pele. And so it's kind of interesting. And, you know, of course there's a French aspect to that movie. Great movie. 5 people have heard of it. But watch it if you can. It's a good movie. But Microsoft really knocked it out of the park. There's a few things that I wish they would fix they're not little things. I still think their flight model on the 172 is horrific. And I think that's a good word. And it is the one thing that just makes me say X-Plane is just not even worth it anymore. There are some places where the flight model really is better on X-Plane. Depending on what you're doing, that may be important. I did yet another flight in the Cessna a couple of days ago where on takeoff with no wind, I had to apply full left pedal, and I'm still not understanding that. You tell me. So, I have not had any major issues. I've only had a couple of crash to desktops, maybe 2 in 2.5 years. Or a little over 2.5 years, or I guess a little under 2.5 years. And by and large, this has run really well for me. I do have a pretty decent machine, but I didn't always have a decent machine. And when it first came out, it was okay. I just put it on settings that could accommodate the hardware that I had, and it seemed to work. I haven't really had, like I said, any problems. And yeah, it's a great movie. And I did notice, it's funny that when the title comes up, they do say Escape to Victory, but I've always known of the movie as Victory. And I just noticed this when we were watching it yesterday. We're going to finish it today, I hope. But and I know some people have had some issues with X-Plane 12, and for me, it's been great. I don't have a whole lot of I have Orbix, some of the West Coast stuff for Orbix loaded, and I have the Airfoil Labs 172 with the G1000, which is a great plane, and I would love if they brought it to Microsoft. Although their Airfoil Labs other plane that they did bring to Microsoft Flight Simulator, it's good. But it's kind of bland. Sorry, Airfoil Labs. Don't mean to knock your hard work, and it is hard work, I'm sure. But it's not the same as what you did with the 172 on X-Plane 12. So if you're listening to this, you're probably not. But if you are, then please, for the love of God, bring us a awesome 172. And if you're able to tweak those flight physics, then please do. Make it amazing. Let's see, we are about 25 nautical miles from the channel, and once we cross there, it's pretty quick into London. This is just a quick flight to, again, have some fun. I may do another one later on tonight, but I just want to get one this afternoon. Just still getting used to this whole setup now. My whole setup is almost completely brand new over the past 2 months, and so I'm still getting it gelled out. Plus, trying to get it to work with the streaming software has been kind of a lot. So clearly, streaming in the afternoon makes a big difference on your stream health. $250 knots. That's just an awesome speed. That is so amazing. I love this plane. There's somebody. My local airport is tiny. It's really tiny. It doesn't have a tower. It's got 2 decently length runways. I think they're about 4,000 or 5,000 feet. And we do get some decent size aircraft because there's a major university where I live, and when they have their games, football and basketball games, there's a lot of air traffic there, and people fly in and balloon fly in for the games and stuff. And so, but there's somebody that flies in and out of that airport on occasion that has one of these Cirrus Vision jets, and it is definitely cool. I think I started on X-Plane at either 9 or 10. I'd pretty much been with Microsoft first, and honestly, I bought into the, X-Plane is for the serious pilots, Microsoft is not. And that was, gosh, we're talking 15, 20 years ago, right? And I think Microsoft is great. They just have a few little things. But what I love about Microsoft, or at least Asobo's version of it, is they are constantly working. And from the interviews that I've watched, which of course, back in the day, I never really saw any interviews with the developers for FSX or previous versions. So who knows what they were thinking. Whereas with Asobo, they are constantly being interviewed and releasing videos and interviews, and you have a good idea. And the feeling that I get from Asobo, and this may be completely wrong, I have no connection with these guys. I don't mean to be shill, but I feel like these guys are enthusiastic about their product. They are fans. It sounds like they are into what they're doing. And yeah, it's not perfect, but it's still pretty awesome. So, John, you're referring to the Vision. So there's a Vision on X-Plane, and it's pretty good. The thing about jets or single, as near as I can tell, the left turn tendencies are almost absent, if they're not completely absent. And so I don't really have a good feel for flight physics as it applies to these small jets. And it, you pull back, it goes up, push forward, it goes down, it banks. It does seem to have some decent stall characteristics. And I don't have as good a feel for like the jets in X-Plane versus the jets in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm not that experienced. They seem very similar to me, and so I couldn't say. But I will say that the small single prop planes, hands down, perform better in X-Plane than Microsoft Flight Simulator. And if I was not trying to also work on real life piloting, I wouldn't sweat it. But because it is sometimes I have both installed and I go back and forth. There's sometimes I just want to try something new. The problem with that, of course, is it takes a long time to get your controllers all dialed in, and then when you're going back and forth and you kind of get used to things. I'm about 80 to 90% Microsoft, and every once in a while I'll touch base with X-Plane just to see what's coming along. I'm still waiting for the third-party X-Plane 12 stuff to show up, and I'm still waiting for some easier way for the scenery to pop, because that really is a big part of my love for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Just the scenery is amazing. So here we are over the channel. I have not been to this part of the world in a while. Since the late 80s was the last time, and the tunnel had not been completed, I don't believe, and we just went across in a big ferry. It was awesome though. "23 minutes estimated time before London," and if we were in the Cessna, no, we'd still be way back. So this plane is flying itself. I'm not doing anything right now. It is autopilot, and it's pretty cool. I can do, let's see here. Hopefully I won't mess anything up because it is dialed in. So, I mean, that's just gorgeous. And, I mean, when it comes to size, it is probably very similar. I have to look this up in length and size to a 172. When you see them in real life, they just look tiny. But it holds, a few people in. Get that cool. There we go. I may have to screenshot that. Sorry guys, I just great shot. Just taking some photos on my trip. there it is. That's the one. That's the money shot. Hold on. I know there's an easier way to do this. I just don't know it. How do you make all the gauges go away? That's one thing I haven't. When you're on those external shots, there's a setting I know I think that gets rid of all this, and that would make it nice. I need to figure that part out. The other new program that I'm working with is F12. Let me try that. Oh, no joy. I don't want to press too many buttons because it'll make me crash. The other program I've been messing with, and I'll go back to my rear camera here, is, and it's not a new program, but it's new to me, is the Microsoft Flight Simulator Pop-Out Manager. I'm going to do a video on that, but it's a great program, and when you get it dialed in, it really is a time saver, but it is also quite persnickety. And I've had a little bit of a hard time. I think I figured out what I was doing wrong, and I want to practice it a couple more times before I make a video about it. But it's a great program, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, when I set up Air Manager, these panels are all cutouts, and I'm popping out the screens from within Microsoft, and I'm sliding them across, and I'm putting them in place. Well, before I was having to do all that manually. X-Plane, it remembers everything, and it just immediately pops back up, which is nice. And Microsoft, please, that's just such a basic thing. And especially for those using Air Manager and Real Sim Gear, and I can't think of that other company that makes the hardware bezels, but it's important. But I finally got it working, and you just load up the program. You have to hit a couple buttons, and it will do its thing. And it's cool because it will know what aircraft you're in. It's bound to different aircraft, and it will automatically do it once you get it set up. And you can make it to where it's bound or not bound, but that's pretty cool. In-game settings menu. I will mess with that then. So I've been using that, and that's made it pretty nice. I don't have these panels entirely adjusted the way I want, but I'm getting close. About halfway across the channel, looking like 80 nautical miles to the airport, about 18 minutes give or take before I land, and I have to try to figure out what my approach is going to be. I didn't realize that Heathrow, I know it's a busy airport, but I didn't realize that it only had basically 2 runways. I bet that place is a madhouse when it comes to all the planes. If there's just 2 runways, that's just nuts. There's a great video of a guy. If I remember, I'll put his name in the description. I've been watching him, Jersey Aviator. He's been around for a while. He's an actual pilot, and he is a VATSIM controller, and I think he prioritizes his assigned to New York. I'm not sure how they do that in the VATSIM world. And that guy, you should watch some of his videos when he's having to deal with all the traffic, and and things. It's just amazing. What add-on is that? I did an add-on. I don't think it's the one that you're referring to, John. It's the one where it adds all the helipads in the North Sea, and that's pretty cool. And it is great practice if you're into the helicopters. But I'm not familiar with the one that you're referring to. But 2023 for me is going to be my year for VATSIM. It's going to be my year for really learning how to do the approaches. And so I'm taking an online instrument ground school right now. I've just started it, and I'm still kind of in the review phase where it's really mostly just PPL stuff. I haven't really got to the new stuff yet. And so I'm excited about that, because I really kind of, when I start VATSIM in earnest, I really kind of want to, show up and prepared kind of thing. And I'm trying to decide, I'm 80% sure it's going to be this aircraft, the Vision Jet, but I was also spending some time in the Citation, and there's a crew, there's a couple of teams that have great add-ons for the Citation. I think Work in Progress has something going on with that, and there's some good Air Manager panel stuff out there for that. And so I want to try to learn more about that. That would be my next step. And I'm going to also try for 2023. I've signed up for some of the Microsoft Flight Sim activities with the training for the larger planes and the IFR and that kind of stuff. So I just want to see what's out there, see how it's going. I've been listening to the VATSIM network a lot. I've flown a couple of times on VATSIM, and actually my claim to fame is I made it into a recording that somebody was streaming, and I'm in there for like 5 seconds. The controller sent me the time and the link. So I think you could hear me say like a sentence. So I'm pretty famous from that. I get all kind of residuals. So about 14 minutes. And again, I didn't do realistic weather. And, in a faster jet, it's not as big a deal. But now I'm going to go online and look at windy days at Heathrow, because holy crap, if the wind's coming directly from the north or the south, what do they do? And I'm trying to see if there's any, I'm on 4Flight, looking to see if there's any things to navigate to that set you up for a direct entry. But as it is now, I would be coming in at about 45 degrees off axis. And so what I may do is at some point I'll have to adjust my course and also bring down my altitude, which I'm actually going to start doing that now. So let me change my altitude. So I just set the autopilot to 2,900, 400 sync rate. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to take that down to 2,600. I'm still a pretty good ways out, but only about 11 or 12 minutes. And then when I get about 10 or 11 nautical miles out, or maybe even a little bit before that, I will switch it over to, I'll come off of autopilot. I think I accidentally bumped into my throttle and I was in the wrong zone. And it definitely would have... Oh, because I was dropping altitude. That's what's going on. I didn't bump into the throttle. So I'm going to slow it down a little bit. That whole area is beautiful. At least my recollection of it is. It's interesting to see that your distance is 42 nautical miles, but your ETA is 10 minutes. When you're coming from small props, that's funny. Of course, when you guys fly some of the bigger planes, especially those that are cruising at 300-400 knots, that's nothing. But I could also see this kind of makes it a little more, brings it into my awareness more that you have to start setting up for your approaches much, much farther out distance-wise. So I'm looking at FlightFX, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. The airspace over and around London is insanely complicated. So kudos to anybody that's flying in and around there. You are way smarter than me. What I'm kind of surprised is that I'm not seeing a ton of planes right now, a ton of Microsoft traffic. There's some. And I love how it does get injected into FlightFX, but I'm not seeing as much as I thought I would. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can do this without messing anything up. I am going to let's switch over to heading. So I'm switching the autopilot. What time is it where you are? It is 3:30 here in the States, 3:30 p.m. And yes, it's New Year's Eve. And I'm going to bring this down a lot lower than I probably should. And right now I'm still hands off. I'm basically just dialing stuff in on the autopilot. I haven't actually turned autopilot off, but I have deviated from my original course to basically go straight north with the idea that I am going to go north and then make my approach to Heathrow, which is, looks like their runways are straight. They're straight east-west. So, and I am starting to see more planes there as I'm getting closer, so I'm not the only one there right now. I wonder if VATSIM traffic gets injected onto the regular Microsoft stuff, or once you log into VATSIM, does that take you out of? I have to look that up. I don't know. So I have heading highlighted on my autopilot, and using my knobster, I'm just kind of dialing a little bit. I'm steering the plane with the knobster. Which this is going to take me right over. Is it Biggin Hill? Am I saying that right? Biggin Hill Airport. Looks like a moderate size airport, one runway. Very cool. So still right now, it's all autopilot. I'm just dialing in numbers. I am steering with the knobster. My hands aren't on the yoke, the throttle, any of it. And about to fly over Biggin Hill, if I'm saying that right. That is interesting to know. I think I've mentioned that my grandfather flew out of England in World War II. He flew on D-Day. He flew a bunch. B-26 Martin Marauder. Would love for somebody to make that for Microsoft or X-Plane. I do think they make one for X-Plane, but I don't know how good it is. And that was 11. I don't know if they've made it for 12. So one thing that's neat on this version of Garmin is you can, on the, when I'm dialing in a direct to point to keep my autopilot kind of updated, I can type in EGLL and then activate, but I can leave it there and I can keep reactivating it and it will redo it over and over again, which for what I'm doing works out. Yeah, now I'm seeing quite a few planes. So it looks like I'm heading kind of towards London City, but I'm going to be missing that. And I hope I don't make anybody mad. I'm coming in from the east. I'm not sure what the wind is for that right now. Drop some more altitude. Let's see if I can't really dial this in. All right, now I'm going to take it off autopilot and let's see how I do. And I'm going to try 09 left, but if I'm not actually 09 right. So one thing you have to be careful about with Air Manager, it is a known issue, and I have heard a couple of guys say it is a deal breaker. And that is, if you take your mouse cursor off the main screen and click on something, you will lose control of the plane. It will freeze at where it last was control-wise. Now, if you're just doing stuff that's built into Air Manager, like the knobs and things like that, that doesn't seem to trigger it, but where you're using your fingers, but the mouse does for sure. I'm a little bit off. I'm gonna cheat. Yep, I'm gonna do 2.7 left. Drifting way off course because I took the mouse off. What I just did was I turned on my landing bugs so I can have a better idea for my approach speeds. I'm still way fast. Now, when I just added some flaps, which may have been too fast, I don't know, the nose tried to come up, which is nice. Gear down, and I may be doing this all wrong. I will say one thing about this plane is the trim, the yoke trim does not seem to respond very quickly to me, but I could be wrong about that. So I think I'm a little slow. I think I'm supposed to be between 90 and 100. I'm at 500 feet.
500.
I feel like I'm a little low. So I'm going to add some speed back, throttle back to try to get my altitude up a little bit. I feel like I got a good approach going on. I probably am low. Look at the pappy. I'm definitely low. So I'm going to fly straight until I can see some of that turning white. Yep, there's one. There's two. All right, I'm on the right glide path. I'm a little high, actually. Now in a Cessna, here I would pull throttle all the way and just glide it in. Some planes you can't do that. You have to fly it with some amount of throttle all the way. Get off the runway here. That was a lot of fun. That is my first kind of long distance. Well, not my first, but like one of my first, like maybe a second or third. Not very many. But my first for sure in this plane. And that was a blast. That was a lot of fun. I can just see that being on that sim would make that even 10 times better. Goodness, I've had music on this whole time. I forgot. All right, parking brake and off. Off. And now you can hear. Now you can hear the music. Alrighty. Well, in any case, I hope everybody has a good new year. I hope that if 2022 wasn't your year, then 2023 hopefully will be better. Otherwise, I think 2023 is going to be bringing some great things, especially in terms of flight simulation. And I'm excited. I'm all about it. For those of you that have been tuning in to this little channel, I appreciate it. Thanks for doing so. I've appreciated the comments, and I hope to get some more tutorials and questions answered. I love doing that. Sometimes I can figure stuff out, sometimes I can't, but it's been cool doing it. In any case, I hope you guys have a great new year, and I look forward to seeing you soon. John, you have a good one.